And we're back. Y'all excited about having 2 shows in one day? About to lose my breath. My goodness. I cannot believe what has happened in Texas. 30 feet of water, a huge wall, came down a very gentle river, to be quite honest. It's the Guadalupe River. They're categorizing it right now as an inland hurricane. Can you imagine how scary that would be? And for the people that say, oh, they were feeding the clouds, they made this happen. Well, for one, who was they? And two, have you ever heard about hurricanes, tornadoes, the tsunami? Geez, earthquakes. There are some things that the earth does that can't really be predicted. OJ, move your ass real quick. Get over there. There were so many camps up and down the river and the San Gabriel. I think the last I heard was 82 people. 82 people. And so, I mean, the question is, how on earth are they going to recover all of these people? I don't get it. But they're going to. I understand this morning they said the Navy is involved. They're at the other end of the Gulf. And they're having to work. You know, I mean, they found one person 18 miles away, wadded up in a tree. So we have at this point almost 1,200 people rescued out of trees and rafters and everything like that. This is horrific. This is horrific. Let's go ahead and tell everyone hola again. And by the way, thank you for being here this morning. That was a great show for Summer Wells, and she deserves it. I hit the wrong button again. What to do? What to do? All right, watch how fast. Now, this is time elapsed. How fast the river rose. Okay? And remember, it's a river. It's not a pond. It's not a lake. Okay, OJ, go over there and watch the trash truck. It was like encapsulating and taking anything the river could get. Homes, RVs, children, grown men, grown women, knocking trees down like they were toothpicks. It is biblical proportions. It is horrible. Horrible. Water, unless I'm floating around in the pool, y'all know how I swim in the summertime. If I go to the lake, I find a shallow spot, I bring out my lawn chair and I just sit there and just splash myself with water. That's it. We have a pool in the backyard. Water and fire scare the shit out of me. They do. Okay? Don't ever think old Brooks here, your old buddy Brooks, is going to rush into a burning house and save anyone. Oh, hell no. No. Don't think your old buddy Brooks is going to jump into Oologah Lake or Keystone Lake or Skytook Lake or Eufaula Lake when something like this is going on, or that nasty Arkansas River. No, hell no. Brainworms knows, because Brainworms is from here. Now, my son lives in San Antonio because he works at Laughlin Air Force Base. He's been in Boston for the 4th of July. He's not giving me any feedback because, well, he's not there. It is biblical. It is historic proportions as to what happened. By the time they find everyone, you're going to be looking at casualties in the hundreds. That was a prediction from Noah out of Norman, Oklahoma. Sabrina says, I'm from Gonzales, Texas. Sabrina, if you want to grab the link, come up. Brainworms said, I almost drowned in Oologah after a boat accident. Hey, were you on the news? When was this? Were you on KOTV? They're always having accidents over there. Linda Lou, it seems like people could see that the river was rising fast because of the downpour of rain. No, it was during the night. They were sleeping. It was nighttime. It was nighttime. It was nighttime, Linda. 30 foot of water, almost like a tsunami, came down the Guadalupe River. Did they know it was going to rain? Yeah, sure. I knew it was going to rain. I was speaking to my husband on Friday morning, and I said, oh my gosh, Ellen Crone on KOTV, Brainworms probably saw it too, said there's going to be a major storm between San Antonio to Austin up to Abilene. It's a concentrated storm. No one could predict this. And when you're sleeping, you're sleeping. Look at that, just engulfing those trees. Look at that. This reminds me, I think, okay, in 1987, they had a flood down there in the Texas Hill Country. It wasn't nearly this bad. This reminds me, I don't know if it was 1989, 1990, when the Mississippi River flooded outside of St. Louis. And old Dan Rather was interviewing people in their homes, and they still had water up to their waist. And he asked what was going on besides the water and the flood. He wanted to know what was biting him. It was catfish. Susan, what year was that? Okay, so they had 22 inches of rain in 1 hour. In 1 hour. And it took 30 minutes for this river to swell. No one could predict it. Okay, that's about a 200-year-old oak tree. Looks small, but considering the water is so high, it just took it down like a toothpick. Now, on the show earlier today, the Summer Wells show, we heard the two brothers that escaped. One was on the top of the bunk bed. Underneath, the kid underneath him was swept away, and he climbed into the raptors. Hold on. Twister said, I volunteered in Missouri for the flood in 93. God bless you. God bless you, because that was horrible out in Missouri. I didn't know you were from Missouri. Black Cat said, I wonder what this camp offered daily to the girls for $4,000 for 30 days. Well, they weren't there for 30 days, according to their parents, but I don't know. No idea. Insane. Okay, Twister said, I'm from Virginia, but volunteered there. Okay. Kids go to summer camp. They do. Here, the big summer camp is Falls Creek. And then if you've heard about the Girl Scout murders, there used to be a big camp over in Mays County where the Girl Scouts had their camp every year. And this is crazy. It really is. When you see video of people hanging on for dear life on top of RVs, in their homes, going down the river, just like, okay, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I don't think I've ever seen a flood in my lifetime where the Coast Guard is over a river like this and they're telling first responders to stay away, and the U.S. Navy is in the Atlantic trying to recover bodies. That's how historic this is. I mean, it truly is.
Doug Fuller and his wife, Libby Evans Fuller, they were swept out of their home in a nearby town near here, Ingram. They clung to a post for hours to survive. Libby and Doug, it's so good to see you. I know Libby, you were just saying it's traumatic even just being this close to the river.
This is the closest I've been since Friday morning when we were in it, and we were out at the Ingram Dam, and it was just so fast.
You were asleep in your beds. And what happened? Tell me how this unfolded.
I got up because it was raining and saw a stranded motorist basically that was riding out the storm, and went to offer to take him a cup of coffee. And we started seeing water come to the middle of the parking lot. And I went inside to let her know kind of what was going on. And when I looked back, basically our car started floating away. And that quickly, before she could even get fully dressed, water started coming in through the door, and it rose so high that we got on our mattress. We were able to touch the ceiling.
This is a matter of moments.
Yeah.
Oh, it was 5 feet of water in less than 5 minutes inside the house.
Could you imagine floating on your friggin' mattress? And the water is so high you can touch the ceiling? Like I said, this is like a tsunami. They're calling it now basically an inland hurricane. This is crazy.
I thought it was going to get wet on the floor, maybe muddy. No, we were up, and then he had the good mind to hide his guitars in the attic. We had a panel over where the bed was, and he could put it kind of within crawl space, and he got up there and put his guitars, and his stepfather was able to go get them for him a couple days later. So
the water comes up, you're able to stash your guitars, your lifeblood, you're a musician. Yeah. Then you're holding onto the door frame of your home. And what were you thinking in those moments?
That I don't want to lose her. And that if I lose her, then I might as well go too. It got really terrifying. We didn't want to go out the door. We didn't want to get sucked into it, but we didn't want to necessarily be trapped in the house and drown that way. So we hung in the door as long as we could. And eventually we got a big surge and it sucked us out.
The water eventually did sweep you away, and you found a post to hold on to?
There's support posts in front of the house. There's an awning, and there was a guy already hanging on. My neighbors were out there as well, hanging on for dear life. And I grabbed his hand. She was able to grab mine. And we hung on for about the next hour and a half, maybe.
Or longer, yeah.
And we were at the roof line. That's how high the water got. And we watched buildings disintegrate, cars floating by. It was, I really thought that might be the end. And by some miracle, the water receded. We got our feet on the ground, and we just kind of stood around not knowing what to do. And I looked in the distance and saw guys in reflective vests, thinking maybe they were first responders, and they were tow truck drivers. And they looked absolutely bewildered to see anybody there. They didn't know why we were there. And we told them we've been hanging on through this whole thing. And
we had to hang on until the water actually receded all the way back down feet.
Insane. Listen, some of these train tracks have been there for hundreds of years, okay? And the water went through so fast, it took the iron off the rails.
Until we could finally touch the walkway in front of our house. And
that was Friday. And before I let you go, I just want to say something extraordinary. Talk about your spirit and your heart. Libby, you had a double shift on Saturday at the restaurant where you worked.
Yeah.
And you came and worked that day.
Yeah, I did. I was there. My boss was even, what are you doing here? And because they knew that we were in it. And the last they had heard was I was at the ER Friday after the tow trucks got us out, and I was okay. I just smashed up my hand, but I had my father-in-law let them know that I wouldn't be there Friday because I was supposed to work a double on Friday too. But I showed up Saturday morning, but we ended up taking food to first responders, and that was really cool because I got to thank them.
Oh, that's
you
what
know,
a
because
community
it meant a
does.
lot to me that they were out there because it could have been us they were looking for.
Yeah,
it really could have.
Yeah, people like you are the heart of a community like this. I'm so sorry for all that you've lost, but that you have each other.
We do. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Just to make it out with him. Actually, when it started, I told him, well, at least we'll go down together or we'll make it out together. And we did. I'm so glad.
Oh, Libby and Doug, thank you for being here and sharing your stories.
Thank you for
Yes.
Okay, hold on.
House, including the President of the United States, is praying for the victims' families and friends during this unimaginable time. President Trump swiftly signed a major disaster declaration for Kerr County, Texas, to ensure our heroic first responders have every resource they need in the relief and recovery efforts. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem traveled to Texas over the weekend, and the entire Trump administration is working hand in glove with state and local officials to provide every assistance available. The situation on the ground remains dangerous, and there could be additional public safety threats with potential incoming heavy rain. So we encourage everyone in the area to remain vigilant, listen to all warnings, and respond accordingly. Unfortunately, in the wake
Okay, I just put this on because it's live right now. Okay, the kids break my heart. Okay, they break my heart. I can't imagine what those babies went through. When they talk about the warnings, when the water comes through that fast, there is no warning. Okay? There is no warning. Hold on. Nufflin said, didn't he cut the money for this? Who? Governor Abbott? Why would Governor Abbott cut money for his own state for flood warning? Governor Abbott wouldn't do that. That doesn't make any sense. Makes no sense at all. Just like when we had brainworms can tell you, when we had the Moore tornado or the Joplin tornado, when wind is that fast, honestly, the tornado warning is not going to keep up with it. How would Trump cut something for a state? That doesn't make any sense. And why would he? That doesn't make any sense.
of this once-in-a-generation natural disaster, we have seen many falsehoods pushed by Democrats such as Senator Chuck Schumer and some members of the media. Blaming President Trump for these floods is a depraved lie, and it serves no purpose during this time of national mourning. Here are the facts. In the lead up to this tragic natural disaster, the National Weather Service did its job. Despite unprecedented rainfall, the National Weather Service executed timely and precise forecasts and warnings. On July 3rd, the National Weather Service office in Austin, San Antonio, Texas, conducted forecast briefings for emergency management in the morning and issued a flood watch in the early afternoon. Flash flood warnings were also issued on the night of July 4th, giving preliminary lead times of more than 3 hours before flash flooding conditions occurred. In the National Weather Service office in New Braunfels, which delivers forecasts for Austin, San Antonio, and the surrounding areas, had extra staff on duty during the storms, despite claims of the contrary. So, to any person who has deliberately lied about these facts surrounding this catastrophic event, you should be deeply ashamed. At this time, the administration's focus will be giving the victims and their communities the support they deserve during these recovery efforts in this tragic time. May God bless the great people of Texas, especially the parents who have lost their children. President Trump loves you. We are praying for you, and he will be traveling to see you later this week. Moving along to some further scheduling announcements. Tonight, President Trump will host the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, for dinner, where they will discuss the positive developments taking place in the Middle East region. Tomorrow.
Okay, we've heard enough of that. Let's get back to the flood. If anyone has an article where Trump cut NOAA, cut the funding for early warning, please send it to me. My email is cll72020@gmail.com. And the warnings are actually weather detected. You don't need a person to do it, just like tornado warnings. Again, brainworms, he understands what happened with the Joplin tornado and the Moore tornado. We didn't have any warnings. The wind was already at like 120 miles an hour. So basically, the tornado signals were already knocked over. So you're talking a 30-foot wall that just was knocking down and just obliterating things. Trump's not the weatherman, and Governor Abbott would never approve anything like that. It's not a federal program. It's a state program.
The victims were not from there. They were from all over the place, including California. 3 members of a family there in the San Francisco area. Neighbors say 52-year-old Mark Walker, 50-year-old Sarah, and their 14-year-old son, Johnny, missing as of this morning. Johnny's high school scheduling a prayer vigil for tomorrow.
And an 11-year-old from San Diego is speaking out after surviving those catastrophic floods in central Texas.
We're going to play a chunk of an interview here with Kalen Kubena because he's remarkably well-spoken and composed for an 11-year-old. And he explains that he's grateful to be home safe with his family, but that he is worried about others. Take a listen.
Some counselor from the other rooms which got flooded came into our cabin and said there was a flash flood. Now, we didn't actually know those one because we were higher up, like more elevated. But eventually we looked outside and we just saw like an ocean out there. It's just like completely destroying everything. We saw like whole cabin just floating down, and that's when we knew like things were getting actually real out there. Like we were starting to realize that this was a real natural disaster crisis.
Thank goodness they were further elevated. Thank goodness they were up higher. You know, and it's really seeing the people that are talking, you know, about what they experienced. Oh boy, hard to even say. They're in shock. I mean, they are speaking so articulately. They are speaking almost like they're talking about a bad dream. It hasn't even sunk in.
So once we got to the business office and the sun started to rise, or it just got more daytime, we saw the river fully, and it was just, we instantly knew we gotta go. This is not fun, safe, because the way we get into our camp, there's 3 different ways, but mostly we go through on top of a dam, and that dam was just completely flooded at the moment. Counselors, they were amazing during this. They had wise decisions as a leader. They took us to safety when they needed to. They made quick decisions. They risked their lives for us, and I think everybody should be grateful for that.
Imagine the parents as well. You know, your kids go to camp for a week or 2 in basically a flood of biblical proportions happened. It is absolutely insane. And I know it's not the most important thing right now, but the livestock, all the farms that this water just engulfed, homes, RVs, children, and livestock. And holy hell, we all know chickens can't swim. Chickens can't swim. You ever seen a cow swim? Horses, they can swim upstream. And I've seen many videos of them. Imagine being somebody hanging on to a tree for dear life. So many people and animals don't have anywhere to go back to.
Their foundations, cars, and trees. Parts of western Travis County, including the southern tip of Leander, devastated by floods this weekend. Crews are still searching for missing people.
My car floated off. We still haven't found it. And then we watched our neighbors in their double wide float passes with their whole family in the house.
This family says they're lucky to be alive after being swept away while trying to escape in this truck.
Bumped into the trailer and then ended up, you'll see our truck right here up against the tree. My dad got me out. I climbed the tree. He handed my daughter to me. And then we sat in that tree for about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Just a few.
Fuck me. I couldn't imagine being in a tree for 2 hours, 10 hours, 17 hours, all the stories we're hearing. I'm not saying they're stories. These things have happened. I couldn't imagine. I just couldn't imagine. It is unimaginable. It really is. And one of the craziest things that people do is they try to escape by car. You're not going to outrun water. You're not. The best thing you can do is try to find the highest ground you can possibly get to. This would be very difficult considering the wall was like 30 feet. And I knew Friday morning on my local news that they had a concentrated storm coming through. I was talking to my husband on the phone. I'm like, they're saying there's a triangulation between San Antonio, which I pay attention to because my son and daughter-in-law live there, to Austin, up to Abilene. No way could they predict what was going to happen. And when that swell happened, the alerts weren't going to happen. One lady was asleep and she said she had the warning on her phone, but she turned off warnings on her phone because she's always getting warnings. She said she's sick of Amber Alerts, and when she wants to sleep, she's going to sleep. So, yeah, they have the warning. Now, let me tell you, there's going to be lawsuits. There will be. There will be. Just like when people were really upset after Hurricane Helene, and they're still recovering from it in East Tennessee and Western North Carolina. Nothing was... It was all the same. But of course, now everyone's going to get upset and say someone has to be to blame. Brainworm said, I didn't know you could shut that off. Well, we don't get many of them, brainworms. You know how it works around Oklahoma. They don't give a shit about us. I mean, how many do you get? A couple Christmases ago, I was at Ross buying Christmas presents, and we did have an Amber Alert. And I can't tell you how many people will just turn in their volumes down because they didn't want to hear it. They're like, that's their problem. Nufflin said, wasn't there so much rain in the camps directly at the water edge? They should have evacuated during this. Do you understand, Nufflin, the small amount of time from when the rain started to when the flood, when the big wall of water came up? There really wasn't much time. Okay? It had been raining all day. It happened so fast. Rain is one thing, but a huge wall of water that's going to engulf the Guadalupe River, which, by the way, is beautiful. It's a great river. It's not like the Mississippi. It's not like the St. Lawrence. It's not a rough river. It's just not. It's a very, what they call it, a very placid river. It's very calm. It feeds into the Riverwalk in San Antonio. And when it gets that vicious, that fast, and it's in the middle of the night, I mean, nobody knew. No one knew. Yeah, they were calling for rain. Yeah, they were calling for a flood. Hell, they call for floods in the Texas Hill Country all the time. They do. They call for floods here. We don't expect something like that. Ooh, that was my question. Sarah, thank you. The Riverwalk was flooding. Ugh, man. Yeah, they'll recoup.
Streets down, a list of people who may still be missing, posted at the front of the Round Mountain Baptist Church.
Greatest need is information. People they just want to know what's going on. They want to know where their loved ones are.
The church is serving as a makeshift meeting place for this community near Sandy Creek and for crews still searching on Sunday.
When you're on Facebook and you see devastation like this, or on social media and you see devastation like this, it's so easy to scroll past. But when it's in your own backyard, there is no scrolling past it.
Despite the devastation here, neighbors helping neighbors as this community works to piece itself back together.
Leander at its best. No two ways about it. Community supporting community.
Grace Reader, K.
And that's how they're going to have to do it. That's how they're going to have to do it. I know several crews from Louisiana. They know a lot about floods. Remember Hurricane Katrina and all the other hurricanes they've had? Yeah, they understand. They have dealt with floods and hurricanes for a long time. A long time. Many crews from Oklahoma are going down there. I know OG&E is going down. PSO is going down to restore power. I think they said they deployed like 7 crews. The TVA in Tennessee is sending many crews down there. A lot of first responders to try to, help put things back together. It is horrible. It is.
Hearing the screams, because you couldn't see anything, it was pitch black. Kids screaming, asking for help.
Historic flooding taking too many lives, destroying families and communities.
It's like mass destruction. It's like a third world war zone.
It's a horrible thing that took place. Absolutely horrible.
The Hill Country just starting to process its grief. The nonstop search for the missing continues.
I've got 2 babies at home, and there's people out there that they're missing their children or their family members. So I feel like it's the least I could do to help.
As recovery efforts begin.
As I've said every time I've been before you, please pray for our community.
Tonight, people across the world have Texas on their minds. Statewide, the death toll from flash flood.
At this point, I don't know who doesn't have a family member from there. I don't know how my son and daughter-in-law are going to get back because there's more storms coming today. It's an isolated storm. It's not part of a system. It's the weirdest thing. It is insane, 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 insane. And I just hope they get back safe, you know, from their 4th of July trip. I'm just glad that they weren't there. I'm just happy they weren't there. I know that sounds selfish. The devastation is crazy. And there is nobody to blame. There is nobody to blame. I know in situations like this, we want to blame someone. We want to blame someone. Well, who are you going to blame? You can blame for the aftermath when people aren't there to help. But what we don't know is what we don't know. There is no one to blame. Okay? Like I said, they're still cleaning up from Hurricane Helene. So whose fault is Hurricane Helene? They knew for 10 days a hurricane was coming through. They didn't know it was going to come up the coast and hit East Tennessee and Western North Carolina. They didn't know that. So who do you blame when a natural disaster happens? How about geologists that study volcanoes? Remember Mount St. Helens back in 1980? Who are you going to blame? It's horrible.
Flooding stands at 78. Dozens more are missing tonight. Families have shared photos of victims who've died, those who haven't yet been found, and those who survived. It includes Eloise Peck and Lila Bonner. They were best friends from Dallas, summer campers at Camp Mystic after just finishing the 2nd grade, both lost in the flood. The director of that camp, Dick Eastland, also died. He was trying to save campers, according to the Kerrville Daily Times. He was a father of 4. These are just some of the stories we will share tonight and in the coming days. The most devastating loss is in Kerr County. 68 people died there, 40 adults, 28 kids. We have gut-wrenching new pictures.
Look at that camp. Look at that camp. Look at that. Look at that water going through and washing stuff out. Again, who are you going to blame for a natural disaster? Who are you going to blame? And if you have someone to blame, I'm not going to argue with you. I want to hear you out. Just grab the link. This is horrible. This is horrible. This is horrible. Who are you going to blame for the Moore tornado that tore up Oklahoma? Who are you going to blame for the Joplin tornado that tore up Oklahoma and then Joplin? Who are you going to blame for Hurricane Katrina? Who are you going to blame for Hurricane Helene? How about Hurricane Fiona? We've heard about that hurricane quite a bit that hit Nova Scotia. The weather has been scary since the Bible was written. Right now, it's about finding people and hopefully finding them alive.
From after the water receded at Camp Mystic. That is that Christian summer camp for girls. It's right on the banks of the Guadalupe River. Bunks are scattered. There is mud, all over the floors and the walls. 10 campers and 1 counselor are still missing tonight. Today, some returned to the camp. An Associated Press photographer was there as a young girl sobbed over what she saw. Aside from what happened in Kerr County Friday, 10 people died closer to Austin. In Travis, Burnett, Kendall, Tom Green, and Williamson counties, people were
Hold on, Black Cat. What does it matter how much the camp costs? I mean, there's summer camps that cost 3 times the amount. I mean, how much would you pay for a vacation for 30 days? And there are a lot of children missing and people missing from other camps and RV sites. So what does the $4,000 for 30 days have to do with anything? Now, I never heard 30 days. Kids are having fun. It's the summertime. So, I mean, what are you trying to say? I'm very confused. I mean, are you jealous because you don't have $4,000? What is going on here? Have you seen other summer camps? Lots of kids go to camp. Lots of kids. But you're hung up on the money. And someone's looking for someone to blame. If they have $4,000 to send their kids to camp, fine. Now again, I never saw 30 days, and I don't care if it's 60 days. That has nothing to do with what happened. In my opinion, $4,000 for a month is dirt ass fucking cheap. Dirt ass cheap. And it's not the parents' fault that the river swelled up and wiped away homes, RVs, cars, 300-year-old trees, grown men, grown women, children, dogs, livestock.
Swept away by flash flooding on Saturday. Tonight, we have live team coverage from the hard questions about alerts and evacuations to the many lives lost. Our Chris Lawrence is leading our coverage from Kerrville. Chris, you arrived this evening. What did you feel when you caught your first glimpse?
Teresa, I think the first thing was that when it comes to these rivers, you can't take anything for granted, and that what may be true at any given moment may not stand. I want to give you a look behind me. You can see that tractor, overturned tractor there in the water behind me. We've also seen some flashes of light further out, which are search and rescue teams on the other side of the Guadalupe River. I did just speak with 2 state troopers who have been guarding some of the access points to get down here. They told me this section is higher than it was just a few hours ago, and they're monitoring it now as a precaution. I also want you to take a look at this. We did just get some new video from ABC News showing the Coast Guard conducting their search and rescue operations today. You know, they have been in the water and flying over the scene trying to locate any survivors. Now, these crews have access not only to thermal, but night vision cameras, which not only allows them to identify any possible movement from the air, it also allows them to work around the clock.
Of course, we're a lot more productive during the day, but we search at night, and we're seeing some really good results, which is good. But bad news is you will see the death toll rise today and tomorrow.
Look, we know some families are praying for the best, that a loved one will still be found alive. And at the same time, based on the number of bodies that were recovered or identified today, on one level, we are bracing for the worst. As the search continues, there are mounting questions over what, if anything, might have given residents or campers more warning. And right now, officials are trying to determine if there was a gap in communication, and if so, where.
There can be all kinds of alert systems that are sent, and we know that some were sent, some general messaging was sent early. Some urgent warnings were sent at various times, but
Many people had warnings. Many people had warnings, and the money for the camp doesn't matter. Holy shit. It doesn't matter. It's so irrelevant. Nufflin said we don't have camps like that here. People camp here all the time. They love it. They love to go fishing and swimming and hunting. It's a normal thing. Some people, I mean, think about hotels. Some people go to the Best Western. Some people go to the Four Seasons. So if a tornado hits the Best Western, does that mean that the Best Western, the people that stayed there, did something wrong? Or if the tornado hits the Four Seasons, they did something wrong? I'm just not understanding why the money to go to camp is the problem. I mean, are you saying because I'm just trying to get the thought process here. Are you saying that because of the money to go to camp that they should have prevented a flood in the middle of the night when they were sleeping? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know how you would prevent a flood. I'm not getting the argument. I just understand it. I mean, maybe someone can grab the link and say something. I don't understand. Rexy said, who says it's a problem? No, not me. Black Cat keeps saying it. I don't understand why. I don't get it. I have no idea. Kids have fun. They do crafts. This is a Christian camp they go to. They have Bible school. They go tubing. They fish. They have a lot of stuff going on. I mean, my goodness, every camp counselor basically lost their life trying to save the kids with a flood that nobody could determine.
just sending the message is not the same as receiving the message, having a plan to do something when you receive the message, and then the ability to implement that plan.
Okay, let's listen to this real quick. Sending the message is not the same as receiving the message. Meaning, if you're asleep or your phone is off, there is nothing anyone can do. Or if your TV is off in the middle of the night. I mean, that's it. Black Cat said, yeah, I work hard for my money. I'm sure you do, baby. I'm a paraprofessional for autistic children. I live on $25,000 annual. Sorry, I'm poor. It has nothing to do with rich or poor. Sorry, I'm poor. I don't think you're poor. I have a feeling that you know how to use your money. I thought this channel was to express your opinion. Well, I just want to know what you're talking about. I'm asking for your opinion. I'm begging for it. Exactly what could the camp or people that have lived on this river all their lives have done different? Remember, it's not just about the camp. What could they have done different? I mean, you're the one that keeps talking about this camp is $4,000. That's for the people that want to spend it. I don't understand what you're talking about. So it's $4,000 to go to this camp. Well, what about the homes that have been in this area for 40, 30, 50, 20 years? I mean, what about them? They were asleep. So express your opinion. I just want to see what you're coming from with this camp and the $4,000. Absolutely express your opinion.
Today, on one level, we are bracing for the worst. As the search continues, there are mounting questions over what if anything, might have given residents or campers more warning. And right now, officials are trying to determine if there was a gap in communication, and if so, where.
There can be all kinds of alert systems that are sent, and we know that some were sent, some general messaging was sent early, some urgent warnings were sent at various times, but just sending the message is not the same as receiving the message, having a plan to do something when you receive the message, and then the ability to implement that plan.
Yeah, obviously that's a thread where we will continue to.
Okay, again, sending the message and receiving the message are two totally different scenarios. All right? If your phone is turned off, you don't have the TV on, the sirens are wiped away, because remember, it's basically a tsunami coming through. At that point, we all know they did not have cell phone service, and some could have just had their phones off. I don't know. My question is, who is to blame? We can't blame God. No way. No way. No way. And again, I'm bringing up something, I'm just going to say apples and oranges. The Moore tornado and the Joplin tornado. Brainworms is in here and remembers those tornadoes. What are you going to do? Now, a hurricane, you have days and days and days and days and days to figure out what you're going to do. Nobody in their right mind is going to think that a wall of water is going to wipe out an entire community. No. And all the updating in the world, which confirmed in the news conference by Governor Abbott, would not have worked because the wall of water was so high, it encapsulated everything. 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 Took out trees that had been there for hundreds of years.
To follow up on in the days to come. Speaking of, just to get some context on what's happening here, my colleague Joe Ben-Puneker has been here for the past few days. You've been reporting on the scene. Give us a sense of what changed today.
So we used to have access along Guadalupe River, Highway 39. Now it is controlled entry. So only residents, only first responders. I think what they were realizing is that it was taking first responders way too long to actually get to these emergencies. And that's the sad reality of these things, because this is still an active search and rescue, and it is a fluid situation.
3 days in, and the search is frantic for survivors. But with every hour that passes, hope drains.
It was just a...
The historic flood of the Guadalupe River has swallowed up these small towns.
It's like mass destruction. It's like a third world war zone.
The death toll rises while the water recedes. In Kerr County, 68 people are confirmed dead, 28 are children.
This is what the water can do.
A horse from one of the camps washed up on Casey's property. Today, he's doing what he never wishes he had to.
Looking for any signs of people, honestly. Still searching. It has been a long week.
We are both restless and exhausted.
Sunday service looked different at First Presbyterian in Kerrville.
It'll be a hard day.
I know, it's been really hard on you all.
Lots of hugs to go around.
A couple days.
Lots of hugs.
People are searching for hope, for community, for tangible love.
Jane Ragsdale attended here, a well-known, well-loved camp director for Heart of the Hills.
So she was someone who loved dearly, who really cared about this church.
Today's sermon is the reminder to do good.
Our hearts ache because we love.
It is tough sharing the good news.
Rescue helicopter. It's been constant.
When everything around you looks so bad.
This is our family history. My husband grew up here. I grew up here. My kids grew up here. His family grew up here. So it's very special.
4 generations of the Jacobs have lived here. Nika is searching for what little she can salvage. Depending on who you ask in this tragedy, there is too little time and also far too much.
This is our hope. This is our faith. And because of this place, we'll keep moving forward.
I mean, just such powerful feelings in that piece, Joe. But now that you've been here several days, what sense are you getting from people in the community here about where they are emotionally, spiritually right now?
It started off with people feeling numb in the first couple days. And now I think they're feeling overwhelmed. You have to understand, it is sensory overload. You have the DPS chopper still up in the air circling Guadalupe River. You have the dive team still in the water. You have search crews up along the.
And that's where it is. That's where it is. Susan says, please come together for the families. Okay? And the state officials, Big Brother can do everything to check anything. They're not going to go door to door and wake people up and say, get out of your house now. We have more technology than we have ever had. Ever. 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 We have cell phones that give you an alert that say when things are going on. Or as Gaelic says, the tings. If you keep your TV on, you have weather alerts come on and say, you have this many minutes to get to shelter. Well, hey, if you're dead asleep, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? There were warnings. It moves so fast that no warning is going to work. I saw the weather Friday morning. Alan Crone from KOTV talked about a storm. He called it a triangulation between San Antonio to Austin up to Abilene. And he said they're going to have a massive rainfall. All right. So some people will say, well, then everyone should have, gone up higher ground. Okay. How many of you would pack up and leave because you're going to have a lot of rain? Can you predict a 30-foot in the air wall? I couldn't. And according to every survivor, there was no time, no time, no time, no time. Many have said that they got an alert, but they were asleep. So again, who's to blame? Who's to blame? Because I'm certainly not going to say that the people that survived are lying. I'm not going to say that. No way. No way. And how many warnings do you need? I don't take shit seriously here. I really don't. Exactly. Thank you, True Crime Beat. I was the one that was yelling at you after Hurricane Helene. And I said, why are you not leaving Florida? It's coming straight for you. And you're like, oh, I'll just go in a couple days, maybe. Nobody saw a 30-foot wall of water coming to them. And even if they did, they'd be dead. Doesn't work that way. Karma Libra said, Oklahoma weather is similar. Look at how many times our weather has given warnings and end up being nothing. Yeah, we don't even take it seriously around here. Rianne, how many people get tornado warnings and go stand outside to look? Hell, we pull up the grill to watch the tornadoes. We're stupid. Okay? Weather is scary. People don't take it serious. And there's only so far you can go.
The ridge lines up along Guadalupe River.
Yeah,
and
we're seeing the lights pop up every now and then.
Yeah. It is still an active scene.
Yeah.
So with all those things happening, overwhelmed is the operative word here.
Okay. All right. Well, it's certainly understandable. Well, you've done a great job.
Okay, so here's a question. Sarah said, my county is under a flash flood warning. There's a small stream about 4 miles away. Should I leave? Yeah, I guess so. Respects Pickles said, for watching satellites. Well, I don't have satellite imaging here. The weathermen watch that and it comes through our phone. And then they put off the sirens. It's actually electronic. So, I mean, again, who's to blame? I really wish somebody would grab the link and tell me who is to blame. I just really wish somebody would grab the link and tell me who is to blame.
You've handled this with a lot of, I think, tenderness and compassion, which is certainly what these folks need right now. Absolutely. All right. Thanks, gentlemen. Also, I just want to call your attention to.
Okay, we're not talking about a hurricane, Pickles. Mother Nature. There you go. It's Mother Nature. Blame it on Mother Nature. Nothing we can do. No one is supposed to be blamed. No one. It's common sense. Common sense is very uncommon anymore.
The fact that this tragedy has really touched, every corner of Texas. It was just tonight during a prayer service tonight in Dallas that St. Michael and All Angels Episcopal Church confirmed that Lila Bonner was confirmed dead in this tragic flood. For a little bit more on that sense, and as we learn a little bit more about the victims, I want to send it to my colleague, Kevin Reese.
Brooke and Blair Harbor were students at St. Rita's Catholic Church in Dallas. They were in a cabin with their grandparents, who are still missing. St. Rita's wrote to us saying that Blair and Brooke were young women of deep faith. And in a GoFundMe post, their family writes, they had their rosaries with them. Their bodies were found 15 miles away in Kerrville. When they were found, their hands were locked together.
How distressing. When they found them, they were trying to save each other. They were trying to save each other. Respect Pickles says, I know they can track storms building. Fine, fine. Like I said, I saw it on my local news, and I'm outside of Tulsa on Friday. So if I knew there was a bad storm coming through, San Antonio, Austin, up to Abilene, you're telling me they didn't know in Texas? You think maybe the people that were camping and that have lived on that river for umpteen years just ignored the warnings? Like I said, I heard it on my news. Now, they didn't say there was going to be a 30-foot wall of water. They didn't say that. So what are you going to do? Can humans not speak for themselves? Or do we need the government to take care of everything for us? That's a simple question. Can humans not think for themselves? Or do we really need the government babysitting us. All right, I'm not going to argue about the warnings anymore because survivor after survivor after survivor after survivor after survivor has said they did not take it seriously. All right? So if you're worried about the government, be 2 steps ahead of them. And when you get a warning or you see something on the news, get the hell out of town and take care of yourself.
Only their parents survived the flood. The Fort Worth Diocese and the family of Hadley Hannah say the 8-year-old is still among the missing from Camp Mystic. 8-year-olds Eloise Peck and Lila Bonner, who just finished the 2nd grade at Bradfield Elementary, best friends, confirmed among the victims. At the school Sunday, a crowd gathered to tie ribbons around trees for the missing and the dead. Highland Park ISD telling us that our hearts are heavy. We are deeply saddened to report the loss of multiple students, and our thoughts and prayers are with all of the families deeply affected by this unimaginable tragedy. Green ribbons are now being tied statewide for the victims of Camp Mystic. And the family of 9-year-old Janie Hunt of Dallas confirms her passing too, reportedly attending Camp Mystic with several cousins of the Hunt family of Dallas. Tavia Hunt, the wife of Kansas City Chiefs owner Clark Hunt, writing on social media that our hearts are broken by the devastation from the floods and the tragic loss of so many lives, including a precious Hunt cousin, along with several friends, little girls, and also wrote that even in heartbreak, God is weaving a story we cannot yet see.
Again, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Marion said they control everything, hence the problems. I need the government for a few things. If I need to call 911 to get my mail and when I file my taxes. That's it. That's it. I do not want them in my life. Okay? I don't. And I know some people, no choice of their own, have to depend on them. They really do. Whether it's for food, health insurance, whatever it is. They have an issue. They have an issue with something. I thank God every day we live in a nice community. I really am.
You couldn't see anything. It was pitch black. But hearing people screams, kids screaming, asking for help.
That a hero. And that will never gone unnoticed.
This family says their hero is 27-year-old Julian Ryan, who broke open a window in their flooded home to save his family. They survived. He did not. The shattered glass cut him so deeply, he could not be saved in time. The search to find any more to save goes on. I'm Kevin Reese.
Rips my heart out. I couldn't imagine my kids going to camp and being washed away. I couldn't imagine people that live, on the river. And next thing you know, their house is floating down the river. I couldn't imagine. And people want to go crazy with it. I don't understand it. It rains every day. It rains every day. Not like this. Not like this. All right, I'm going to get in big trouble for this one, but here we go.
Over 75 deceased bodies here in Kirk County, including 48 adults and 27 children. Of this 48 adults and 27 children, 15 adults and 9 children are pending identification. At present, there are 10 campers from Camp Mystic unaccounted for and 1 counselor. We continue to offer our condolences to those affected. Reuniting the families remain our top priority here on this operation. Please note that Highway 39 of an Old Ingram Loop remains closed to the public. Other than those who live in that area would not be allowed out there. I will now turn it over to Senator Cruz. City Manager Dalton Rice.
Good morning, Dalton Rice, the city manager for the city of Kerrville. As everybody knows, we are working in conjunction with the city under a unified command response and again, a lot of devastation. Our hearts go out to the families and the victims. We want to continue to work together as a community. We love the media support on this to be able to communicate that message, communicate family, communicate togetherness, and we really appreciate all the support and helping us be able to do that. Search and rescue, as the sheriff said, search and rescue operations will continue today.
Are you watching the flash flood in Texas? Yep, I'm doing a show right now, Ryder. Miss Moolah said, so the main part of the flood happened at night. I saw a film of people watching the wave coming in during the day. Well, what day and what time? Was it the San Gabriel? Or was it the Guadalupe River? I don't know. Not you. I'm not talking to you. I'm live right now, Ryder. So what are you talking about? Because I don't think these people are lying. They've been through too much.
From Hunt in North Kerr County to all the way to Canyon Lake in Comal County. Now, we're only focused on the Kerr County side, but we wanted to talk about that because for a linear from Hunt all the way to Comal County in a straight line distance is over 100 kilometers. This is a massive field that is happening. And again, this is unprecedented flood events. So we are still currently in the primary search phase, which is the rapid one. They are running it, we have different segments that are gridded out. Each one of those segments are taking anywhere between an hour to 3 hours, up to 2 kilometers for each segment. So what that means is they're running into a lot of technical challenges with terrain, with water, even potentially, with weather, in the rising fields. We've talked about this before. Volunteers stay out of the way because if we start getting weather reports and all the
Geez, and that's a hard one too. Ryder's here to get an ice cream. That's our neighbor across the street. There's people that are trying to play Chuck Norris, and they want to go out there and do it. They don't need more people to save. They don't. Ooh, hang on, Rianne. Hubby has to go to Houston for his flatbed drop-off. My husband had to go to Greenville, Texas today. And I was like, don't go any further, but he has to go back through Arkansas. So we're good. But no, I am not going to say that any of these survivors are lying about what they saw, what they experienced, and when they got the warning.
The other complications that are out there, we then have to pull off of those search and rescue missions to be able to communicate to those volunteers to get off, to make sure that they don't become victims themselves. Those operations involve 19 different local and state agencies, in addition to conducting primary and secondary searches. They will be conducting welfare checks on areas in North Kerr County impacted by power outages. And when we say search and rescue operations, that is boat, walking, on the ground, dogs, drones. Again, keep personal drones out of the air. Helicopters. We do have other assets that are continuing the search as well. As of present, KPUB, which is the Kerrville Public Utility Board, is reporting.
And wait for the idiot to chime in and go, why can't we use our drones and go help search? Because you're inexperienced. You understand? The Coast Guard is there. People that understand swift water rescue are there. We just can't go play cowboy with something like this. And there's just no way to tell people not to. That gives them more people to have to save. It's crazy. It really is. Rian said nobody is lying about this. No. And not to mention, thank you, Ilyanka. That was mentioned too. They're using their drones and everything to put on their YouTube channels. That's all they're doing. That's all they're doing. People have their hearts in the right places. They do. They really do. But when they ask something specific, like don't mess up our signals, please don't make us come rescue you, I think that's a simple thing to comply with.
Continued power outages between Hunt and Ingram along the South Fork of the Guadalupe River in Hunt. In the South Fork area, there are approximately 40 down power lines and significant infrastructure damage. KPUB has brought in additional utility personnel to help with restoration, but it's not possible at this time when the power is going to be restored. There are some substations along with those power lines that we are still trying to get access to just from debris buildup or them being completely wiped out. So we do not have an estimated time on when those are going to be fixed. We continue to have substantial number of requests for volunteers, as I said before, and donation opportunities. We are asking those who want to volunteer to contact the Salvation Army in Kerrville by phone at 830-465-4797 or in person at 855 Hayes Street in Kerrville. Monetary donations can be made on the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country's website at www.communityfoundation.net. They have a Kerr County Relief Fund set up on that site. And I will now turn it over to the Mayor, Joe Herring.
Thank you for being here. I need to tell my community and those families who are waiting, this will be a rough week. Primary search continues, and we remain hopeful every foot, every mile, every bend of the river. Our work continues. You need to know that we have been blessed with help from the community, from the state, and the nation. We have trained experts who are helping in this effort. If you want to volunteer, it is important that you contact Kerrville Salvation Army and register. Dalton gave that number, but I'm going to give it again. 830-465-4797. We need focused and coordinated volunteers, not random people just showing up and doing what they do. We need to work together. I
am so proud of this mayor. We don't want random people just showing up doing whatever they want to do. We need skilled people. Let the professionals do their job. That's why I'm so happy about all these churches that are standing together. I believe in the power of prayer. I do. I do. Pray for the victims. Pray for their families. Pray for the search and rescue. Pray for the powers that be that are overseeing this rescue mission. There is such a thing as the power of prayer. There really is. So instead of trying to blame whoever for a catastrophic event, come together and pray. Hell, you can do it right now. We can do it right now together. Talking about cloud seeding and all this shit. Come on. This is crazy. We have had a lot of rain this year. This is the first year in 6 years in Oklahoma we have been without a drought. True story. It's on our news every day. On our news every day. And sometimes the tides turn and we get a dumping on us. We do. We get a lot of rain. You ought to see my garden right now. I can't keep control of it. For one, all the cow shit I've got out there, and two, all the rain. It's going to take me a month of Sundays to get all those weeds out of there. Funny story. Our garden hoe broke over the weekend. My husband put it back together, and he just kept saying, "This is the best hoe I've ever had. This hoe works so good. This hoe, this hoe, this hoe, this hoe." And I said, "Are you talking about me or your garden tool? Quit bragging on the damn, quit bragging on the damn garden tool." Marion said, "Okay, be gullible. You shocked me. See ya." Marion, there's a link. Grab it. What are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to say? I'm not going to fight with anyone in chat that don't want to grab the link. If you have something to say, grab it. Email me. Send me something that I can use. Goodness.
As Dalton said, donations have been flowing in from around the world to the Community Foundation. Again, that website is communityfoundation.net. Please follow the City of Kerrville's Facebook page for updates. They're accurate. We take a lot of time to make sure we send out information that will be helpful, not only to residents, but those who are visiting. I've said this 100 times, and I will say it again. We need your prayers. We need your prayers. Thank you. And now, Senator Ted Cruz.
Texas is grieving right now. The pain, the shock of what has transpired these last.
Woo. Old Ted Cruz. Remember when Trump was running in 2015 to 2016, and he kept calling him Lion Ted, Lion Ted, Lion Ted. He's the last one to the finish line every time. And I apologize to anyone that lives in Texas and that is your senator and you think he's the best and he is the greatest cup of water ever. I've just never understood him. But he's not my senator, so I don't have a dog in the race.
Few days has broken the heart of our state. As of yesterday, the confirmed death toll was 82, and those numbers are continuing to go up.
Well, hey, Dawn, what's up?
Hi there. I was just wanting to say hi and, kind of give my take on it since I am a Texas girl.
Go ahead, baby. I want to hear it.
You have to kind of be from the area or know the area to kind of know.
That's what I want to hear. Every time we're talking about a case, this is not really a case. This is a natural disaster. I want to hear from locals. Go ahead, baby. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, you're fine. I live about 2.5 hours away, but I do have a lot of family in that area.
Okay.
The topography is hilly. There's a lot of vegetation, but there's a lot of rocks, and there's a lot of, there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on there. We have been in a drought in Texas for years. We've been in no rain, and then we get a lot of rain. It does cause flooding. A lot of people ignore the signs of like when we get, we'll get the flash flood warning or watch, like a lot of people, you just ignore it or you just like, okay, we're gonna hold my beer, let's have fun and watch what's going on. We don't take it as seriously sometimes as we could or should. That being said, this happened in the middle of the night. This was also the remnants of Tropical Storm Barry. It came across Mexico, and it, because of a low pressure system, it sat right on top of Kerrville and Hunt area. and it just drowned it in, it just basically just drenched them with water over and over and over and over. There was over a foot of rain over just the Camp Mystic part of where that was. Not to mention, the Guadalupe is fed by two forks, basically two little, mini rivers, the North Fork and the South Fork.
Okay, now
So
I did see that on the news. Now, how does the San Gabriel affect the Guadalupe River?
it's one of the rivers off of it, but the Guadalupe is basically one of the main tributary rivers down throughout the hill country. That's just like the river everybody goes. That there's the San Gabriel, there's the Comel, the Frio. I mean, there's like, these floating rivers that people most of the people float on during the summer. That's where you're gonna find all the tubers and all the ones that, have the beer coolers and everybody's connected on, on the floats, and they're floating the river. That's what we do because it's a cold river. It is cold. It is a cold river. Um, do I think that, you know, I know that I don't know. I've heard many different things just because of social media about the warnings went out such and such time, whatever. Most of the time, the times I've heard, people are sleeping. They're not going to hear those warnings. That's why I feel like, honestly, personally, as a Texan, I would like to see, especially those huge rivers that people are always camping on or always floating, and you have all these camps. I do think that there needs to be a system in place, that a flood siren, that would give some kind of warning.
Okay.
At least that would be, I feel like that's an important thing, so that this tragedy doesn't help,
And
happen
so
again.
even if one person gets their warning, now this 30-foot wall knocked down the warning signals and knocked down the power and cell phone towers. So what could happen with that?
I mean, if they need to have A, B, and C, and D, and E in place. If A goes out, B comes in. B goes out, C comes in. If it comes down to a helicopter going around and announcing with a siren, that's what it takes. That's what it takes. Like, if it can save one person, I feel like it's necessary and it's vital. Um, Especially since I don't think anybody could have foreseen that 30-foot wall of water. They just couldn't. I don't feel. Um, but with a drought, with all the rain, it was a perfect storm on a perfect night with perfect, like, it was just the perfect storm. And you have all these people in for the 4th of July because it had kind of been a little bit of, rain here and there where they could have fireworks and things like that. So everybody's going to the river on fireworks, you know, to watch fireworks, or to, be part of that culture of, like, let's just go to the river and camp. There's there's been times I've been like, hey, let's go to the river. I don't tell anybody I'm going to the river. You know, we're going fishing. I'm not telling anybody. I'm just there with my kids or my grandkids. Like, that's why I think there hasn't been a exact number, maybe, either, or why the numbers keep changing and people are upset about, like, oh, why does the number keep changing? Because a lot of
Well,
people
the
don't
numbers
even
just
say
keep going up. What I'm seeing in my
right,
news, they just keep going
right.
up.
Like,
It went from 20 some
I
people
think it's
dead to 51 to the last I saw was 82.
right. And I think a
And
lot of it has to do with
Noah
people just didn't say it.
out of Norman, Oklahoma said there is satellites that, track these things, but when satellites are way behind, okay, because they use Google. And so when it welled up in 30 minutes, and you're talking about a 30-foot I'm just going to say wave because I'm not a meteorologist, to wipe out everything, satellites are always behind because they're circling the Earth. Now, listen, they're the experts, not me.
Right.
And you're a Texan. You're a Texan. I'm an Okie. When I get a weather advisory, you know what I do? I go outside and watch, or I go to bed.
Right. That's how, I mean, that's just, I don't know if it's the culture down here or what, but we just, a lot of times we don't take it as seriously as we really probably should.
I know, look
I
at the
come
people in
from,
California. I mean, all the earthquake warnings
right.
they've had over the years. And they're like, I cannot believe that this happened. Oh, my son's in here. Hang on. Buster said, don't forget to hit the like. Welcome, my son. Give me a second. Hang on. So, I mean, that's what we do. We're human beings. We're like, we're repetitious. You know, we are creatures of habit. We are creatures of habit. We're just like, okay, well, I've seen storms before. It's not going to be that bad.
Hmm. My family was first responders. I mean, we were taught to spot clouds. That's what we did. We were volunteer fire department. So we were taught to go to our area that we were assigned and spot for clouds. This is way long in, the 80s, before internet, before Google, So, we have that ability, and stuff. And I use that even to this day, to know kind of like what's the weather looking like and stuff. But I mean, I don't know. I think that it is a natural disaster. Mother Nature is a fierce force. Um, I don't feel like politics has any say so in it whatsoever. Personally, that's my personal opinion, because I guarantee you here, we're not asking if you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent before we save you. We're not asking if you're a Republican, Democrat, or who you voted for before we give you a meal. Doesn't matter. If you went through a tragedy, you went through a tragedy. Doesn't matter who.
God don't vote. God doesn't
No.
vote. Jesus doesn't vote. They just
No,
sit
not
back
at
and
all.
watch us and go, well, I tell you what, I've given you all the tools and you don't listen.
And I think that, could we benefit from some updating of some services that need, yes, I think we could. As of, it doesn't matter you know, how expert of a system you have, there's always going to be room for improvement. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't matter how much expertise is involved in it. There's always going to be a room for improvement in that situation.
Mhm.
So, you know, um, I think that, it's just one of those things where, we really just, I hope that and pray, um, that, we find everybody. I hope that everyone is found and accounted for that was in this tragedy.
100%.
And everything, good or bad, they don't need to be out there. Um, and
No, I'm not going to
you
ask
know,
how you vote. I'm not going to ask if you're Republican, Libertarian, conservative, left wing, Democrat, Independent, Tea Party, Green Party, whatever. Do you think that sometimes the media tries to divide people so we don't come together for things like this? Your opinion only.
I do feel like it does sometimes, depending, and I don't even think that it's a certain program or certain show. I think it's everybody. Like, it's like all the media per se. They have their agenda, they have their spin on things, and it'll be a heartwarming story of all the different good things that have happened, and then in a week or so, you'll hear the little echoes of like, oh, but if not for such and such, or if for such and such, and I think there will be some divisiveness, but we as Americans, which we should just realize that and we have been given a great gift in this country, and we might not like who runs it, or we might love who runs it. It doesn't matter. What matters is the people that
Mhm.
make up the country, not the people that run the country necessarily. So, we've been given a great gift in this country for freedom, being able to speak how we want, and even if I disagree or agree, everybody has the same rights to speak what their truth is.
And you
I
are
mean, I'm
brave,
not.
and you are brave as fuck. When I was, saying to people, grab the link and come up and talk. I mean, look at the 30s, the Great Depression. There was
Right.
nothing but drought. There was nothing. Look at the 1920s, nothing but rain, washed away, almost washed away New York City. So when people say weather is new, they need to research just a tad bit.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, Mother Nature has been around since weather has been around. So, it's just, I think it's a lot more maybe in our face just because we do have so much of, you know, there are so many outlets that respond to it, that talk about it, that it's
Mhm.
in your face, it's in your social media, it's on your news channel, it's on, it's in news newspapers if you get newspapers, like there's so many different, you know, different types of media that you're going to see it in. It seems like it's overwhelming and like, oh, we're having so many different
Because we have so
things.
much information. We have so much
Yeah.
information. I mean,
And
before nobody could tell what was going on. I mean, I can remember, being 4 years old, and there was no tornado sirens, and there was like 10 tornadoes that year. And we would have to go to the county courthouse, and my dad would just have to look at this thing. I don't even know what it was on the wall to check the barometric pressure, and we would take shelter. That was it.
right. And I mean, it just seems like back in the 40s, the 30s, the 20s, before, I mean, there was newspapers, of course, but
Mhm.
um, you know, what happened in New York would not really even be heard of in California unless it was catastrophic. Like, whereas now we'll know everything at the drop of a hat, and it doesn't matter where it's at in the world, So it's just that instant of, you know, finding out something so quickly and so often. Like it can go from this story today to that story tomorrow, to the next story the next day, and it just seems like it's happening more often, in my opinion. And it might be happening more often.
No,
It's just.
I think you're right on. I think you're right on. Let me do probably apples and oranges.
Hmm.
No way from where I live would I have known about Michael Vaughn or
Hmm.
about Summer Wells without social media. Now,
Absolutely.
I would know about this hurricane because it's national news. So
Hmm.
they pick and choose what they want to tell us.
Right.
So without
Right.
social media and people sharing, we wouldn't know. And everyone has an opinion and they're welcome to have it. And some people like the junk science, and some people, there's geniuses all over the internet. Hell, look at my chat. Well, not this
Right.
chat because you guys are smart. I'll tell you what. You can throw a cat down the street. You're going to hit 12 experts in the YouTube community. They know everything.
Right. Hmm. Yeah, and I'm from, I was a 75 girl. That's when I was born. So be 50 this year. I remember when, the news cut off at 10 o'clock, 10:30. We had them, like the news cut off. You had a few programs at 12 o'clock. It was time to go to bed. Like It was the national anthem, and you went to sleep, and you didn't have any more overload of, you know, any kind of media. Like that just didn't happen back then. So I think that that has a lot to do with it too. Is that you can stay stuck on it, you know, something. I could be on the internet, and I could look up something about this flood for the next 40 days, and I'm gonna find something that's live. I'm gonna find like there'll be something out there that is a continuous thing of information, and it's not always vetted. It's
No,
not always
no.
it's not vetted. It's not
Now
appropriate all the
I
time.
don't
It's
know
not
what year
proper
you
all
were
the time.
born. I was born in 75, and every night. You were born in 75 too?
Yes, ma'am.
Holy hell. When's your birthday? I don't need the date. What month?
August. I'll have a birthday next month. I'll be a 50-year-old. I'll be half a century old.
Woo! So you remember growing up and they played the national anthem, and then they would play something that said, "Do you know where your children are?" And then
Right.
it was static.
Right.
Yet still natural disasters happened.
Right. Exactly. And so, I mean, but we wouldn't have heard about, instantly when this happened. People that were online or whatever, they knew about it instantly, pretty much, I would think, you know. But we would have had to wait for the next, for somebody to get to Kerrville, for somebody to get the reel of the information to get Kerrville, get that back to in the station. There's so many moving parts back in the day that they had to get. It might make the 6 o'clock news, but now it's instant. It's instantaneous. We have a walking video camera all the time, and we have consistent media all the time.
Yes,
Like,
exactly. I take videos of my cat all the time and put them for the members, and they love it. I mean, that's the reason people subscribe. They're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for all this content you have of your cat taking a shit in your hallway. It's awesome.
right. But I think it's just an overload of information. I think it's people, like you said, 12 million experts within a foot's throw.
Now, how long have you been around the channel?
I've been on here quite a few times. Like, I watch you all the time. I'm a true crimer. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm a true crimer. And so yeah, I've been true criming. I'm just totally an enthusiastic observer, not one that
What
participates
case do
in
you
it.
follow the most?
The one that really got me was Arbery.
Oh, I'm telling you,
Um,
Henry Cunningham.
I mean, Aubrey Cunningham, that was, because of Texas thing, but that and Harmony Montgomery, oh my gosh.
Oh my
Like,
gosh, I know.
I can't.
And we
Like,
have
that
playlists. We
got
have
me.
playlists for both of them.
Yeah, like that just, oh, I can't. Like, I tear up every time I even see her face. I don't know why. Just that baby, Aubrey Cunningham. That was just heart wrenching because it was very kind of close. Like, I live in the College Station area. Let's just say I live at A&M, basically. I come where Texas Task Force One comes from. Like, it's within a few miles of my home where they train, where they are stationed. So, and they were, they were out there. They're our search and rescue team. They have a ton of search and rescue people on that team that were actually stationed in, I don't, before the flood even hit, our our government knew there was going to be a flood. They did not know how bad it was going to be, and they had only prepared for the 3 to 6 inches of rain. That's how they had, but they knew because of the terrain that there's possibly flooding going to happen, that there's potential flooding going to happen, that they needed to set their resources out to where it's easily accessible, where you don't have to wait a couple of hours to get somebody there.
Right.
So
And
they already
the
had them.
question is, and this is only your opinion, when the meteorologists say we believe a flood can happen, or like, back in February, we had wildfires, and they told everyone, please, please, please water your yard, do this, do that, cut down brush, do whatever you can. If people ignore that, what are you going to do?
Right. You can't, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
You can tell them, but you can't make them adhere to it. People have free will. They can do what they choose to. Now, with that being said, I do feel like, this is my personal opinion, allegedly, when you have children that are at a camp, you should have somebody monitoring that weather consistently and on
100%. And that's where the lawsuits are going to come in. And don't tell me that those parents are not going to sue the shit out of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to sue the camps, and they're going to sue the campsite. And we know it's going to happen. I don't know that I'm going to hear about it because I'm in Oklahoma. I don't know it's going to be national news, but you'll hear about it where you are outside of College Station, Texas.
Right.
They will start suing the shit out of them.
Oh, I'm sure that they will, because honestly, what you choose to do with your children and choices you make for your family is one thing. What you choose to do with other people's children is what is the problem when it costs lives. And it could have been avoided potentially, potentially could have been avoided. I don't know. I don't know everything, and I don't get paid the big bucks to know all those things. But I could say if it was my child, I would be very upset.
Mm-hmm.
And I did actually. It was a learning lesson for my child. My grandchild, actually. I'm raising my grandbabies, 2 of them. She goes to camp on the 17th, and where she's going, like, it's not anywhere near any kind of river like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to explain to her, okay, look around. Where would you go if I said go to higher ground? It's an emergency right now. You have to make a split decision. Where would you go? Oh, well, I go there. Well, no, you wouldn't go there because that fence might be high, but it's gonna wash off with a raging water. Like, higher ground means getting up high, like
Yep.
that's a hill. Like, it was a teaching moment, which I appreciated, because I didn't know I would need that at teaching moment. But I
That's the
did.
reason we have laws, because people learn from past mistakes. If everyone could take a moment to welcome Texas Mouse. She is new to the channel. She's dancing. And I agree with you. When children are entrusted to someone else, then when there's a warning, even if it's from the day before, take the precautions. And that's why I'm calling it right now. There's going to be lawsuits between the churches and the campground. All right, now I'm going to get back to this, and I'm going to continue talking to you.
Okay.
Children, little girls who were lost at Camp Mystic. That's every parent's nightmare. Every mom and dad. Last week, we were picking up our daughter from camp here in Hunt. Our girls have gone to camp here for a decade. The Hill Country is an incredible part of Texas, part of the country. The natural beauty here is incredible. The camps that have raised generations of little girls and little boys and instilled character and love and faith are extraordinary institutions. And I'll tell you, the pain in our state, and it's every part of the state. You've got Texans from all over the state who were here celebrating the 4th of July. A week ago, this was a time of great celebration. You're dropping your little girl off at camp, your little boy off at camp. You're celebrating Independence Day. You know that your child is going to be swimming and canoes and horseback riding and doing archery and making lifetime friends. And then suddenly it turns to tragedy. For the last several days, I've spoken to multiple parents, scared out of their mind. Do you know anything? Where is my daughter? There's still 10 girls and 1 counselor from Camp Mystic that are unaccounted for. And the pain and agony of not knowing your child's whereabouts, it's the worst thing imaginable. But I want to say, in the face of all of this, it is simultaneously inspiring. Every time there's a tragedy, every time there's a natural disaster in Texas, Texans come together. Texas is a big state. We got 31 million people, and we have hurricanes, we have tornadoes, we have wildfires. Tragedies hit this state, natural disasters hit this state, and without fail, 100 out of 100 times when that happens, we see Texans coming together, helping each other, engaging in acts of heroism. There have been over 850 high water rescues since this flooding began. 850. You look at extraordinary stories of Eagle Scouts pulling campers out of harm's way. I was just hearing a story of one counselor whose head was right at the water holding up 2 mattresses with campers on those mattresses. That kind of courage, that kind of selflessness. And then there are the first responders. The local first responders, I want to thank every one of the first responders at the local level, at the city level, at the county level, at the state level, at the federal level. In the first few hours of this flood, I was on the phone with Governor Abbott, I was on the phone with Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, I was on the phone with Nim Kidd, the head of the Texas Department of Emergency Management, and then I called President Trump. I called President Trump. He was having dinner at the time. It was still early in what was transpiring. And I wanted him to know, I said, Mr. President, everything we're hearing right now, this appears to be bad, really bad. There may be a very significant loss of life unfolding right now in Texas. And I will tell you, the president said, Ted, anything Texas needs, the answer is yes. Whatever assets you need, whatever resources you need, yes, let us know, and we will provide everything. Within hours, we had helicopters, over a dozen helicopters in the air. National Guard, DPS, game wardens, Coast Guard, doing search and rescue, reaching down. We've all seen the videos of little girls being pulled up, hoisted out of harm's way. Incredible courage and heroism. Search and rescue is the first stage. But the process of coming together and rebuilding is going to take longer. And I will say to all the grieving families, to all of those who've gotten the worst news imaginable, that your little girl, she's gone. I will say for many of us, those are friends and neighbors who've lost children. Got multiple kids who go to school with my girls. The mayor asked for prayers. And I want to say thank you to the millions of Texans, to the millions of Americans, to the millions of people all over the world right now who are praying for Texas and praying for those parents. Going through this grief, it is going to take love. It is going to take friends and family embracing and hugging and holding them while they weep. And it's going to take the church. With every disaster, one of the things we see here in Texas is the church steps up and the church helps and the church feeds and clothes and comforts. This morning, I met with a group of chaplains who've been going through the incredibly difficult process of talking to mom and dad after mom and dad who just lost the most precious person they ever knew. And those chaplains are just trying to love them and show God's love. So I want to say we will come through this. To those in the midst of grief right now, that might seem hard to fathom. But Texas will come through this. And I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to these gentlemen here who are working. They are not sleeping. They are working every day. Thank you to the families. Thank you to the Salvation Army. Thank you to everyone who is just reaching out and saying, how can I help? We will come through this, and we'll come through this together. Thank you.
Ooh, that's a lot. That's a lot. That is a lot.
Yes.
I mean, that's a
It
lot.
really, it is a lot, definitely. It's very soul crushing on a lot of levels, you know?
And I'm unapologetically patriotic, no matter who's in the White House. I'm a weirdo. I really am. I really am.
Well, I'm a weirdo too.
I am.
believe, you know, I'm like I said, I'm for the country. You know, I believe we have a lot of good people on both sides, all sides of the fence, and all throughout. It doesn't matter, you know. Um, you know, I feel like different, diverse looking, you know, at something in a different light. I'm
Mhm.
not opposed to opening my viewpoint to something else. I could, you know, I'm not opposed to saying, "Oh, I'm not better than you." I don't feel like my viewpoint is 100% right, and that there's no, you know, that I can't see it from your perspective type thing. Like I always feel like that
Oh, hell
in
no.
every
Hell no. Shit
relationship.
would be
I feel like
easier.
that's
Hell no,
important.
shit would be easier if we could all run the country. I mean, who would we elect? Okay, who would be president? Who would be vice president? Who would be in the cabinet? Who would take care of Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State? We get this shit done real quick. They don't like Trump, I'd be signing shit left and right.
Right. Yeah. It's, you know, I feel like, you know, anyone that's just dead set in their ways, there's no other way but my way,
Mhm.
has lost a very big, not saying that you aren't right. You might be right. You might be very right. But on the same token, try to see it from the other person's perspective and the other person's, you know, viewpoint, because it might give you just a tinge of a little bit of a different look or outtake on things, because, you know, we would meet in the middle a lot more, I think, if people did that instead of being dead set.
Well,
Heels in the
Susan
mud.
always says we agree to disagree and leave as friends. So,
Yeah,
speaking of,
absolutely.
let's do this.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. But I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Woo! I think all of our songs really always hit me in the gut. They do. Thank you so much for coming up, Dawn. And I mean, I hope you're in every show. I'm sorry that my cat's an asshole sometimes and shuts down the show, and he farts in the in the microphone, and he acts like he's sneezing. It's just what my cat does. But I know that everyone is going to get together and make sure that the people of Texas are 100% put back together.
Absolutely. We definitely appreciate everybody's prayers and thoughts and good vibes if you're not a praying person. And, we just appreciate all the good things in life. So thank you for having me up. I appreciate it. And I watch your show faithfully. I'm a secret.
Can I tell you a
watcher.
secret, though? Can I tell you a secret, though?
Yes.
I wouldn't put a lot of faith into those Okies that are coming down. Okay? Because you never know what they're going to do. All right? And Louisiana's all over this. I would leave it to the Coast Guard and the Navy. Because Oklahoma, they could fuck up a crowbar.
Well, hey, we have plenty of people that, are down here, and there's so many people that are more than happy and willing to just lend a hand in whatever we need. And we appreciate everybody and our neighbors. But I agree. We just need to let the people that are trained to do it. Like,
Let's
let
do it.
them train. And then whenever they need us, they will let us know. They will ask for our help if they need it. So, but I do appreciate you letting me up, and I really thank everybody for the prayers and just all the good things for Texas. And we just pray that everybody comes home and in one form or another. So pray for the first responders and just everybody that's helping with this. I appreciate it, and thank you. All right, I'll hop down.
Okay, unless you want to say a prayer with me.
I'll say a prayer with you. I'll let you say a prayer.
Me? I'm not good at it.
Well, I'm a silent prayer giver, but
all right. Dear Jesus, where more than one comes together, you are here. We are praying for those who have been devastated by a natural disaster in Texas. I want you to remember those that have lost their lives so suddenly. We want you to hold their families as close to you as you can. We want you to bless those that are healing. We want you to please repair the damage. We want you to bless those that have been engaged and are victims of this horrible disaster. Lord, I have read the Bible, and I know in Revelations they say there is no such thing as a victim on this earth because we're our own victims, according to God. But you are God's son. We want you to bless people that are coming together to rebuild. And they can find strength through you. And they can heal. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brooke.
All right, that's enough internet for me today.